Are we live? Got to make sure. Up. Yep, we're live. Okay, we're good, guys. What's happening, guys? Wow, it is Friday the 13th, and here we are. Better have those drinks ready. Welcome to the Vodka stream. What's going on, guys? Cheersies. Look at that. I think I poured a pretty good one tonight. Look at that condensation. Kind of hear it. What's going on? Okay, I'm live. It's weird. Now I get an email from YouTube. Let me know. Hey, you're live. You're live right now. Did you know you're live? Are there people that don't know they're live? Anyways, guys, what's going on? What's up, Javier? Jose, Jester, Eric, everybody. Cheers, man. Cheers, everybody. Welcome to Friday. Weekend's here. Yay! Cheers to all that. Jeez. What are you guys talking about? You guys arguing about stuff? I see Suicide Squad things. Just posted my video about my thoughts about the cast. It's quite a fucking cast, which is what they had to do. I mean, first Suicide Squad had small group, and then it's like, okay, second one needs a big group. What's going on, Britt? How you doing? To be honest, I don't find... Yes, thank you, Ryan Levins. I don't find Pete Davidson funny either. I really don't. I all he does on Saturday Night Live is show up on the Weekend Update and he's just himself, and he just talks about shit. But the guy's got it made. I mean, he was with Ariana Grande, so the fact that he was with that kind of like star power and I guess hotness. I mean, she's hot, but I don't find her like that attractive. But now he could pretty much get any girl he can, and that's what he's doing. I mean, he got Kate Beckinsale next. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And Pete Davidson is gay. It's all just a front there, Stallone? Could be. Hey, do you think they recast Katana? No, I don't see why they would recast Katana, because I'm pretty sure Karen. I can never say her last name. Pretty sure that she would come back for it. I think they just, they're just not having some of the characters. I mean, the fact that they're bringing back Joel Kinnaman, Jai Courtney, Margot Robbie, and Viola Davis just shows me that if they decided to write Katana's character, she would have came back. So I'm just saying, yes, exactly, Stallone fan. God, you guys are really feeling what I am. Ariana Grande looks like she's fucking 12. That's why I'm like, yeah, I mean, she's pretty. She's a beautiful woman. I'll give her that. But she looks so fucking young. Yeah, Katana is now on The Boys. Karen, I can never say her last name. She's on The Boys, and she kicked ass. What's up, Veggie? What's up, Clay Italian? Freeze. What's going on, Freeze? Cool party. Everybody chill. James Gunn is not recasting. He's just making a new team. Exactly. And that's what the Suicide Squad is. That's the thing. You think they'll explain Deadshot's whereabouts? I hope so. I really do. I really hope they do. Thanks, Mr. Edgy Veggie. Who are you gonna miss the most from OG Squad? I'm gonna miss Will Smith, of course. I mean, who's not gonna miss Will Smith? I think I'll miss him the most. He's got that charisma that Will Smith carries. So, where's Amanda? I'm sorry, John. I don't know. I haven't talked to her. I talked to her a little bit on Twitter, but I don't know. Tonight's a night where I don't think she has her child, so she might be partying it up. She might be out and about. So go find her, Hoskins. I see Snapchat is just. I see Super Chat. I just remember Compia show. Really? Will Smith and James Gunn doing a movie is bonerific. Yeah. It would be kind of nice. Amanda Waller gave Deadshot a solo assignment. Their explanation. Yeah. That's probably what's going to happen. Something along the lines of that. They'll explain, oh, yeah, he's off doing something else. And I don't even know what happened with that Deadshot movie. I still want that to happen. I don't know if you guys saw my video a while ago when when they were talking about the Deadshot movie, I gave my Deadshot pitch. And basically my pitch was, I don't know if any of you guys read Rebirth All-Star Batman, where Batman basically had to take Two-Face across the country or, across the West. I don't know. It was basically a road trip movie with Batman and Two-Face and a bunch of other villains were trying to get to them. And I thought that would be a good idea for Deadshot, for him to have to guard a villain that Amanda Waller tells him to do. And all these other villains show up to try to kill whoever he's escorting. And of course, he has to defend that person, even though he probably doesn't even like that person. He's a little done as Joker. If so, who would you cast as the new Joker? I don't know. I like that Joaquin Phoenix kid. He's kind of cool. Deadshot movie with Deathstroke as the villain. That'd be pretty sweet. Dave, have you seen J.J. Abrams' Superman Flyby script? Yeah, it wasn't that good. It was a little out there. Didn't Krypton not blow up? He made it where Krypton didn't blow up. Krypton survived. Yeah, exactly, Peter. Yeah, that was like a weird thing. Hey, Dave, 2-girl face-off remake. Isla Fisher and Amy Adams. Oh, shut up, Eric. You just want to see Amy Adams because of your undying love for her. Spider-Man Homecoming. Nice. It's a nice way to spell that. Now, see the brilliance about the original Face-Off movie, okay, and this is the brilliance about it, and I kind of explained it when I did my video, was the fact that Nick Cage and John Travolta had to, basically reverse roles. After the opening act, they had to reverse and act like each other. But also the fact that no one would ever say that John Travolta and Nick Cage look like each other. No one would see those two men standing next to each other and say, yeah, they almost look like twins. That was the brilliance about it. But somehow they made it work because you didn't really notice that, they have the same skin pigment. Oh, they're about the same height. Holy shit, they could pull this off, That's the thing. That's what was so beautiful about that movie. That's why I fucking love Face Off. Was one of my all-time favorite action movies, man. The Woo Man. Exactly. Clay. The brilliance, and not to mention you have to have a good director because that movie has a great story. It has a great story because you're the protagonist lost his child to this madman, and then he had to become the madman and go into his world where that madman has a child of his own. It's just crazy, man. It's a good fucking story. And then I would almost say it's got a 4-structure act. Almost. I almost think because it's got those 4 big action sequences. You got the opening action sequence, then you got the prison break action sequence, then you got the raid on the hideout action sequence, and then you got the final act action sequence. Zack Snyder Face Off. Yeah, Snyder would do a fucking amazing job at that remake. Remember when John Woo was gonna do Master of the Universe? Oh, was he really? I don't remember that. Man, I can't imagine John Woo doing a He-Man movie? Really? I'm glad Tom Holland is done with the MCU. Yeah, I think a lot of people are. I really hope. I hope they don't recast him. I don't think they will. And I really hope that they just do something, give him some better writing, because I like Tom Holland and I like the Spider-Man. I just think he needs a little bit better writing. There's moments that I enjoy in certain those movies. Dave, how does that not fit the talents of? They look too much alike, Eric. I'm talking about that. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying they look too much alike. Okay, they get mistaken from each other. Bring me 2 actors or actresses. I don't even fucking want this movie to happen, but give me 2 actors that don't exactly look alike. That's what I'm saying. But when they already look alike, I saw people also going, oh, what if they did one with Tom Hardy and what's his nuts from Upgrade, whose name is eluding me right now because they look exactly alike, and I'm like, that's just too easy. It's too easy. It can't be that. I don't know. Dave, did you hear about the X-Men? Yeah, people. Yeah, they're gonna make Magneto and the Professor X. They're gonna make them like, can they make one of them Mexican? If they're gonna do that, does it always have to just go black? Yeah, Logan Marshall Green. There you go. Thank you, Edgy. I couldn't think of his name right. It was eluding me. Make one of them Mexican. Just do it. Why not? Make them Middle Eastern. Who knows? Will Smith and Eddie Murphy for Face Off. That'd be interesting. That'd definitely be interesting because they don't exactly look alike. Hey, Ricardo. What's up, bud? I haven't seen you in here. Did you see Boss Logic's poster? Yeah, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. I saw that. That'd be funny. That'd be pretty funny. I dig it because they don't exactly look alike, but you put them together like, they do kind of look alike. Yes, I will direct the next Face Off movie. You watch. I will. It will be mine. Oh, yes. It will be mine. Yes, Vodka tonight, Mr. Film Trigger. Wait, what the hell? Yeah. Okay, sorry. I was scrolling up. Face Off 2 with The Rock and Peter Dinklage. Jesus Christ. And it makes you wonder, though. You know what? This just hit me right now. With all the face technology that they can do now with all this stuff, I'm wondering if they're gonna like do anything where they'll modify digitally like their faces to make it like, is that I don't know. There's so much they could do with all that. They might as well just like have the actors just play the same characters and they could just put a face on them, but that would just be dumb. Is Lethal Weapon 5 happening? Mel Gibson could definitely do it. Yeah, shit. Mel Gibson's he's still in great shape. Dude's jacked. Don't think Danny Glover would do it though. He's a little too old. Dave, there's no way Fantastic Four are going to be white at this point. They weren't. Not all of them were white on the other one, which could have been a really damn good movie. Nick Cage was going to play Skeletor. What? Because he was in that Wind Talkers movie with him. Remember Wind Talkers? That was like the last John Woo movie that I remember really seeing. Wind Talkers, which was about what? Was that about the Vietnam War? Or was that the World War II? I think it was Vietnam War, right? I don't know. No, World War. I don't know. It was just basically using the Indians, Native Americans' language as code. I don't know. Remember when Mel Gibson was going to direct Suicide Squad 2? Yeah, that was a thing at one point. That would have been interesting. But I'm still thinking about Quentin Tarantino. How perfect that would have been. And for him to direct Suicide Squad. Jesus Christ. That's almost too perfect for him. It was World War II. That's right. Yeah, I haven't seen the movie in forever. It's a good fucking movie, I thought. Biggest DC crossover, a film junkie crossover Film Gob podcast. Make it happen. Well, Film Gob's been on here before. I don't know. I haven't talked to the guy in a bit. He's always welcome on here if he wants me to come on his podcast. I don't know if does he have one? Probably. I'd gladly do it. I just know that he's kind of tight with some of the people that do not like me that much. So I'm not sure how he feels about me right now. So I don't know. What's up, Dave? I'm going to FT13 Bing right now. What's FT13 Bing? I don't know what that is. You're going to have to explain that one to me. J.J. Abrams actually had two different scripts for Superman Flyby. First one was experimental weird one. The second one was focus on humanity tech. So there you go. I didn't know about that second one. Thank you, Eric. I just heard about I just read the bullet points about the weird one, which that's cool. That's fine. That's actually pretty awesome if you think about it. As a filmmaker or a writer or whatever the fuck, hey, if you have like, oh, what if we did Superman like this or like this? Pitch your ideas and see what fucking sticks. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with having multiple, like, hey, multiple pitches or whatever the fuck. Nothing at all. Boop, boop. Okay. Is Riddick 2013 good. You know, the Riddick movies are actually pretty damn enjoyable. Not gonna lie, I like the Riddick movies. Pitch Black, Chronicles of Riddick, and then just Riddick. Actually, decent movies. Yeah, I mean, eh, I mean, Vin Diesel keeps on doing these Fast and Furious movies. I'm getting tired of them. Face Off, Dave, me and Armini's, whatever the hell his name is. Wasn't Jimmy Olsen gay? Yeah, something like that. Is Rush Hour 4 happening? I don't think it is. I know they teased it, but I don't think it is. I didn't block Film Gob. That wasn't me. Dave, did you hear or see the leaked Nightwing suit from Mika? No, I did not. They leaked. Why is that? Why is that not all over my timeline? They leaked the Nightwing suit, or is it a fake leak? Are they just playing with us? Because I'm dying to see what that Nightwing costume looks like, man. I'm dying to see what that looks like. Dave, you were fine with Snyder killing Jimmy Olsen and BVS? I don't think that was the actual. I mean, I guess it was real Jimmy Olsen. Yeah, I was fine with it. Because, like I said, it wasn't trying to be like this big universe thing. When it came to Snyder's universe, Snyderverse, it was supposed to be a 5-part story. And then he opened doors for other people to do shit. But, you know, he was trying to make his own story. That's what Rush Hour 2 is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Really Stallone fan. One of the funniest movies. It's a funny movie, I'll give it that, but one of the funniest. Wow. Vin Diesel teased a new Riddick movie a while back. Yeah. But I mean, that's just trying to build up hype. He's only doing that so then he could go to the studio and be like, hey, look at that. Look at all this. Look at the analytics on this when I posted this. So did anything ever pan out after that Snyder Cut video? No, just getting it out there. It wasn't supposed to be anything crazy. I posted the video. I did it. You know, it's just something that was just, okay, Justin was going to go there. He was going to go there, and I thought, okay, since I didn't make it to Comic-Con, I'll go to D23. That'll be interesting. So we did it. So that's what it was. I mean, it's over 5,000 views. I don't know where it's at right now. It hit comicbook.com and heroichollywood.com. So I guess that's something. Hey, what's up, Giovanni? How you doing? Giovanni. Let's do it. Hopefully you got a drink there. Chapter 2 is good, but I wish they give more explanation for Pennywise. I guarantee you they're going to do a Pennywise origin movie. I guarantee you. Can you tell us about the Snyder cultists losing their minds over James Gunn? Yeah, I wouldn't say that the group that you would call the Snyder cultists, yeah, they hate him. But even just like ones that are still looking forward to other movies in the DCEU, they're hating it too. They're hating it too. There's just people that hate. I mean, I think they just hated him already because he was a Marvel director, and they just hate all Marvel directors. There's certain DC fans that just hate all Marvel directors. And now that James Gunn, you know, when those tweets came out, that was just ammunition for him. I don't know how many times I've been told from people that like, oh, you defend a pedophile, and I'm like, well, until the guy gets accused or accusations come out, then I'll fucking disown him. If he gets thrown into the shit and a bunch of people come out with accusations that James Gunn touched young boys, then I will then I'll disown him. Then I'll be like, fuck that guy. But nothing has come out. You just hate the title, but I'm coming around. Yeah, you don't like the. Some people, yeah, just putting the in front of it. The Suicide Squad. That, you know, it might change. Who knows? But I mean, I don't think it's going to. You know, who knows what's going to happen with Batman? Is it going to be the Batman? But that sounds better than the Suicide Squad. So I see what you're saying there, Clay. Storm Reed is in Suicide Squad, who also played the lead in my favorite movie, Wrinkle in Time. Yeah. Well, to be fair with her, she wasn't terrible in the movie. The movie was just terrible. It was just poorly written and poorly directed. That's why I'm worried about New Gods. That's why I am nervous about the true Snyder cultist remembers that Snyder. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Some of these people don't realize that James Gunn and Zack Snyder are friends. They work together on Dawn of the Dead. James Gunn wrote that damn movie. But then they'll come up with excuse. No, they don't like each other anymore. They haven't done. And then there was like a video when James Gunn was promoting Brightburn when they talked about Snyder, and he even said he's all Snyder and I are good friends, and I believe it. I'm sure that they are. That's what I always find funny about these guys. It's like, do you realize that they're probably friends and they probably talk every now and then, and whatever? And I don't know. Just saying. People are hypocrites, want to hate James Gunn, call him a pedophile, hate the movie, but still want to go watch to support Margot Robbie. Yeah. And I also found it funny, too, because a lot of these people, when it was rumored that Harley Quinn wasn't going to be in Suicide Squad, all these guys had a field. They were going crazy with it because they were thinking, oh, yeah, Margot Robbie, she's standing up. Girl power. She's going to stand up to that pedophile. She's ruling the shit. And then now it's like, no, she's in the fucking movie. She's working with James Gunn. It's like, sorry, guys. Dave, want to talk about bad writing? Suicide Squad BBS says, shut the fuck up, Yazith. You fuck. BBS does not have bad writing. Suicide Squad, slightly, yes. Did you hear Rick Fumi? I can never say that Flash was going to be about police brutality? Really? Was that what it was going to be about? Huh. I don't know if that's not exactly a Flash kind of story. But okay. I mean, I guess I could see how they could maybe turn that into like where Barry has to solve some crime about police brutality, but then it's going to be all so political and blah, blah, blah. Because, according to certain things that I read, police only have it out for black guys, apparently. I mean, they never shoot or beat down a white guy. Not at all. Except they do, and you never hear about it. The CCPD. Oh, the Flash's dad was taken out. Oh, okay. Okay, I can see that. Zachary Levi and Mark Strong for Lights Out 2. Okay. That was random. I don't know about that. James Gunn was apparently offered Superman. Yeah, he talked about that, and I could see that. But then he was like, "That's not." I can't really see him do Superman. I mean, when he took on Suicide Squad, I thought, yeah, that's more up his alley. Just saying, it's more up his alley. Oh. Yeah, an extremely politicized Flash movie sounds horrible. So if that were true, I'm good. Yeah, I know. If that was going to be the case, that's just. I mean, I know like police brutality is a problem, and there's stuff like that, but it's just really sad when, when guys that aren't black get killed or beaten by the police, and you never hear anything about it. Like that kid in Arizona, I forgot what his name, Dylan something. This happened like a year and a half, 2 years ago. But police showed up because he was staying at a hotel, and he was like he basically would go to businesses, and if they had like rats or birds or something like that, he would show up and try to fix the situation. And one of the things that he had to have in his job was a pellet gun. So he had a rifle. And so he was at this hotel, and he was showing some of the people his rifle. Somebody saw it from ground level, called the cops, and said, "This man has a rifle. Come now." The cops showed up, told him to get on his face, just full on the ground, crawl over. The video is so disturbing. It's disgusting. He's begging for his life, crying. He's literally in board shorts and a t-shirt, I think. And they're telling him to come forward, but if he moves wrong, they're going to fucking kill you. I'm going to fucking kill you. That's what was happening. So he's crawling. He makes one wrong move, and these cops light him up. But it never got talked about on mainstream news or nothing because he was white. It's just stuff like that where I just kind of go, what the fuck, man? I mean, if we're going to talk about police brutality, can we talk about it with everyone? But, narratives. Everybody wants to keep the narrative. And it's a horrible disservice to any like young black kid for that kid to hear, oh yeah, the police, they hate you. There's a target on your back. That's horrible. That's horrible, man. Hey, Dave, since Gunn confirmed no Benicio, guess no Vandal. You never know, though. You never know. That cast might just be the Suicide Squad. It's probably not even, well, maybe it is. I don't know. We'll see. We still gotta check it out. Why the cops never beat up Asians? It's because I'm sure they do. You look at statistics, there's statistics. It's crazy. I've seen the statistics. More white guys have gotten killed by cops in recent years than anybody else. Then, of course, the population, per capita, But there's some Asians. It happens, but it really does because they keep to themselves and they kick ass. They're kicking ass in this country, man. WB want Keanu Reeves as Constantine again for DCU. What are your thoughts? Do they really? I don't think they actually do. I wouldn't hate it because I love Keanu. Who doesn't love Keanu? I just would rather have a more legit, I'm just saying, a more legit Constantine. I want a Colin Farrell or Tom Hardy. Yeah, that's from We Got It Covered. Yeah, okay, that's bullshit then. It doesn't help that NWA made Funk the Police. Yeah, now I'm not saying that there's not douchebag cops out there and there's not racist cops out there. Of course there are. But the fact of the matter is, it's like show all the police brutality. Don't just show it happening to black guys. Don't just show that. Show it happening to everybody. I watched that video of them just blasting this guy in a hotel hallway. A guy crying, begging for his life on his fucking stomach and face like this, no gun in his hand, and they blasted him. And they got off scot-free. Those cops got off scot-free. It's like, if we're going to tackle the police brutality thing, let's show everything. Yeah, there's also black cops. A lot of black cops. My uncle was a cop. He's a retired sheriff who's Mexican. I mean, he's told me, he's like, yeah, it's so diverse. And it's like, but the fact of the matter is, he even told me, he's like, white cops are scared. I mean, he was working out in LA. I remember when I asked him one time, I was like, how is it over there? And he goes, yeah, people are scared. Cops are scared to do their jobs. That's what this fucking society has created. Cops are literally scared to do their jobs. I mean, I've seen the videos where cops are getting buckets of water thrown on them and squirt guns, and guys, they're just totally disrespecting them, just throwing fucking bunch of water on them and stuff. I'm like, really? But then when shit goes down, what are you going to do? Call the cops, right? But fuck them any other time. Yeah. Jimmy Olsen is a CIA cover name. Yeah, see, that's the thing, Eric. Wasn't it talked about that it was just a cover name? Like it wasn't actually the actual Jimmy Olsen or something like that? I don't know. I don't know. Amanda can arrest me any day. Yeah. Her and I are probably going to go. I think we're actually going to go to the Universal Horror Nights next Thursday. So, yeah, that means I got to see Ad Astra the next day. Yeah, I got to see Ad Astra the next day. I really want to see that goddamn movie. Hey, what's up, Sting? It's okay. That's all right. You're late. No big deal. The point is you're here. That's what it is. BVS was political and filled with social messages. Why can't Flash continue the sentiment? Mind you, Rick visited. Yeah, I could see that, but it's just, I don't know. For it to be all just completely about police brutality, I don't know. But then again, I would have to actually read the pitch or hear the pitch or the outline, because maybe he had a cool little spin to it. I don't know. That could be it. That's dumb. Why would a cover name happen to be Jimmy Olsen? Well, ask Snyder, man. That guy, you got to peel the onion. You got to peel the onion. He's got his ways. The cocaine stream, yeah, that'd be Jesus Christ. Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for joining. Yeah, I don't know about that. Did you hear that Ana de Armas as Catwoman, Dave? No, I didn't hear that she is or whatever. I just know a lot of people want her to be, and I think she'd be a pretty damn good Catwoman. She definitely has the look. Now, I haven't seen her in too many things, so I don't know about the attitude of it all, but she definitely has a look. I mean, that woman is drop dead gorgeous. She does have kind of like those cat kind of eyes, so I could see it. Nose candy. Yeah. Booger sugar. Thoughts on X-Men Race Bend? Yeah, it's whatever. It's just where we are. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's probably going to happen. And I'm like, whatever. What are you going to do? You got to be woke. There's so many characters that are people of color, but when it comes, but then it's like, well, yeah, but the main people have to be, that. And I'm like, well, it wasn't written like that, but whatever, It's just, that's what just sucks about a lot of things. It's like, can we just come up with new stuff, new characters, like when they're talking, Pierce Brosnan, yeah, it's time for a female Bond. I'm like, God damn it, Pierce. You're just saying that. Okay? It's not a female Bond. It's fine. I mean, it was kind of smart the way that they're doing it. It's like, oh no, it's a female 007. James Bond is still James Bond. This is just a female 007. All right, fine. You found a loophole. That works. Sure, why not? But just, come up with new characters that are female, that are people of color. Come on. Jeez, I know people like, I got to see myself on the big screen. I'm like, I don't see I think Steve Lemmy from Broken Lizard, Super Troopers, we're alike because he's also half Latino. He's half Latino, half white, I think. I'm like, that's only, when I see him, I see myself. He's a half breed. He's a half baked bean like I am. Yeah, see, it's like, it's not female James Bond. It's female 007. So they did a good job of like finding that little loophole. We'll see how it works out. There's still a James Bond. Cool. And it's just, you're just going to have that moniker, that name, that title. That's fine. That's why I was okay with it. I'm like, okay, they were smart about it. James Bond walked away from his duties in the last movie. So they're going to give the 007 title to somebody else. Fine. No, fine. That's perfectly fine. Do it like that. I mean, that was just a way for them to do it without actually doing it. We'll see. It's like Tom Holland saying he wants Spider-Man gay. He's just appealing. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like these guys are just doing it for PR. Do you think Tom Holland wants to have like some scene with a dude and kiss him and stuff? I mean, he would suck it up and do it. Suck it up. No. He would do it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Tom Holland's gay in real life, for all we know. Who knows? Apparently, there's still actors that still hide their sexuality, even though we're in this society where if you're anything but a straight white male, you're fucking golden. So that's why I'm like, I still baffles me when I hear like the Kristen Stewart thing. I was like, why is that? Why would she have to like hide her sexuality nowadays? Like the past like 4 to 5 years, if you were like gay, you were like, oh, we need you. We want you, because of that. That's what I don't understand. Yeah, I know they call that acting. I know. I get it, Giovanni. I get it. I get it. I know. When I said that, I realized, I was like, no, that's probably wrong because, I mean, there's plenty of like straight actors that play roles and look at Brokeback Mountain. Great fucking movie, and both the lead actors, even though Gyllenhaal, sometimes I wonder. But, they weren't, and they had some pretty heavy fucking make-out sex scenes, so. It's 2019, motherfuckers. This is where we are. You got to be woke. You got to have, yeah. I don't know. Tom Holland has been a drag before, and he was into it. Oh yeah, that's right. He was in drag when he did the whole lip sync thing, right? Yeah, I mean, he might be gay, and there's nothing wrong with that. The fact of the matter is, it's like I'm just like surprised. Like, why is it that if you're gay, just come out. Just come out. Look at Ezra Miller. He don't give a fuck. He lets it be known. And everybody's fine with it. Nobody's pushing back on Ezra Miller being gay. So it's like, yeah, because I've heard actors that are still closeted gay. Come on, John Travolta. It's time to fucking say you're gay. Come on, Tom Cruise. I don't know if well, John Travolta's for sure gay. Tom Cruise, I mean, I'm pretty sure, but yeah. And speaking of Will Smith, I mean, I've heard things too. Oh, I'm sure Ezra's bi. Steven. Hey, Steven's here. Yeah, I'm sure he's bi. But I mean, he seems like he more floats that way, more towards the dudes and stuff. Has anyone seen the new Travolta film? Are you talking about Fanatic, directed by Fred Durst? Okay, so I heard from certain critics that said, like, Travolta, his performance is pretty good. But then when I saw clips, I went, okay, yeah. Maybe at times, maybe it's just the bad writing and the overall just terrible movie. But, oh my God, I don't know. Yeah, Tom Cruise's his wives. Yeah, that's why I kind of think Tom Cruise is either gay or he's asexual. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, wow, Ezra, I didn't know he dated Zoe Kravitz. That's pretty cool. Wrong Turn movie reboot? Really? Why would they reboot that? But then again, they reboot everything. Oh, that's right. Jason Momoa is her stepdad. Is Brie Larson gay? No. I think she wishes she was gay, so then she could be more woke. Brie Larson's like, damn it, I wish I could be gay, but she's not gay. Come on. I think she's with some fucking pasty-faced white dude, which is weird. You'd think her being so woke, she would just go for like anything that's not a fucking straight white male. But that just shows you that it's all an act. Dave, Face Off remake, Tom Holland and Ezra Miller. Okay. Now you're thinking outside the box, Eric, because they don't look alike, but they do have similar body types. See, that's the thing. It's like Travolta and Cage had a similar body type, but Travolta was heavier, just a little heavier. So I actually kind of dig that. They don't look alike, but you would buy it. That's the thing. Yeah, I'm asexual. You guys didn't know that? I don't like anybody. I just love myself. That's all. Just love myself. And hey, Steven, I sent the link just in case you want to join in. Just letting you know. SC Reviews said Brie Larson and Chris Evans are hooking up. What? I thought she was with somebody else. Interesting. I want to have hate sex with Brie Larson. Yeah, I kind of do too, Jester. Because I find her attractive, but she's annoying as all shit. But for some reason, I find her attractive. I do. I can't help it. I think she's an attractive woman. She really is. 5 to 10. Come on, Steven. I've already been doing this for 40 minutes. Just kidding. Will Smith definitely hooked up with Robbie. I bet that's why he did Suicide Squad. Did he hook up with her, or did he and Jada hook up with her? I've always heard that they had an open marriage, but a lot of three-way things going on. I don't know. I used to be a male trapped in a woman's body. What the fuck? You used to be. And you were born. I heard Margot Robbie wants to play Tank Girl. Yep. That was like sorry. Ugh. That was like a rumor or a development, right? I'm not too familiar with Tank Girl, the comic book. I watched the Lori Petty Tank Girl movie back in the 90s, and it was awful. But whatever. Robbie's married. Yeah, does that matter? Does that really matter? I don't know. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm jaded, or maybe I'm just very my eyes are open. But yeah, even though she's married, doesn't mean jack shit. I'm sorry. Doesn't mean anything. Yeah, people cheat on each other all the fucking time. I mean, I saw the goddamn Hustlers movie, and they always talk about, when they were scamming the rich guys. I mean, most of those guys were married. I've worked with married dudes who've cheated on their wives. I mean, people cheat all the fucking time. Hopefully you're not married. Yeah, but that's right. See, Clay, she wasn't married. Dave, what would be the new Magneto origin, since World War II Magneto would be too old for now? What, Vietnam? Well, no, that's the thing. That's the allure. Huh. That is the allure of Magneto's origin, was World War II, Holocaust kind of stuff. Everything. Hey, look who's here.
Hey.
What up, man? How's it going?
It is going.
You got the flannel going on tonight?
Yeah.
You're out and about or what?
No, I've been like, I slept like 3 hours last night and then took a nap this afternoon. I've been like doing
3 hours?
work. So yeah.
Is that normal? Is it normal for you? What's your average? I know you got a kid.
My average is probably like 5.
5 is about
4, probably 6 actually.
6? Yeah. So that's my problem too, and I don't even have a kid. Like all this week I got 5 hours sleep like every night.
Yeah, I mean I've got 2, but they fortunately it's hard to take credit for it because they kind of do their own thing, but like they go to bed really super well, and I get them down at like 7:38.
That's right. You
usually.
Have kid. How many kids do you have?
Just 2.
Wait, just 2. Yeah.
Yeah. One and almost like what 20.
20-year-old? What the fuck?
No. She's like 20 months, and then my son's a little over 3.
Dang. You got your hands full.
And but like they go to bed fine and mostly sleep through the night, but like I've got so much stuff going on that like once they go to bed I'm like now I do like see that's the thing. I'm gonna start doing freelance work or whatever.
When I talk to my friends who have kids, I always hear like when like Amanda, who showed up many times in here, like her daughter goes to bed super early, like 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what do you do? And she's like,
everything.
Yeah, she's like, I just catch up on things. I binge watch my shows and this, that, and this. I'm like,
yeah.
But I'm like, does she wake up at like super early in the morning? She goes, no, she sleeps like 12 hours. I'm like,
oh, see, she's lucky. Yeah. That's my kids get up at like 7-ish. Yeah. So I guess that is about 12 hours actually. Yeah. But it's
I mean, they need that sleep. They really do. I mean, I guess to develop and stuff. Am I seeing the commercial with Margot Robbie or not Margot Robbie? Megan, what's her name? Megan Fox. What the hell?
What is she doing?
Well, she's wearing torn short. Oh, it's a PlayStation commercial. What the hell? She's in the desert and she just grabbed a controller and then she morphed into the character of Black Desert. Wow. Where's Megan Fox been, guys? Well, she's in a PlayStation commercial now. Wow, that was weird. Sorry. That just caught my eye. But and every time I talk to my friends who have kids, and I'm like, what are you doing right? Like when they're asleep and all that time that you have, just catching up on shit. But then at the same time, I'm like, I'm wondering like, why aren't you sleeping too? You can't.
It's not always enough. I mean, nope. I could, but like I've just got so much other because I do I have a basically full-time and part-time jobs and freelance work, and so I'm like if I let myself, I could basically just like stack up every hour, which is like, I don't know, I'd say I'm a workaholic, except it's like not really I don't really think of it that way, but if I don't like schedule in off time, I'm just like going.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, yeah, I have that workaholic mentality too, but sometimes I just like, I'll get into that mode where I'm like, I need to do something. I need to do something.
Yeah.
And I won't do it. I'll just sit there and just like watch whatever the hell's on TV. Giants game's on. I'm just like, I'll like find excuses. I mean, that kind of happened today where I was like, I need to record my review for Hustlers. The Watchmen trailer, a new Watchmen trailer just showed up. Didn't that show up today?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I was going to do a reaction to that, but I was like, I just don't feel like recording right now. So of course I had to do a short video about the Suicide Squad cast. What do you think about all that's going on?
I think that's awesome. It's crazy how many of those names. I mean, quite a few of them are confirmed, but there was a number of them that appeared on there that just like hadn't been rumored at all. Which is funny because, well, I guess a bunch of those ones were, but the poster had, I think, two of his best friends, his brother and his girlfriend are all not just like in the movie. Girlfriend? What's her name? Jennifer
Holland or something like that?
Yeah.
That's who that. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we knew that his brother was going to be.
Yeah, well, he's always got friends in his movies.
Oh yeah, and I love that. I hate it when people shit on that. I'm like,
oh no, it's great. Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, Snyder does the same thing.
Yeah,
but and I think it's just, if someone wants to work with you consistently, I think that's actually more of a compliment than anything. Like if you can actually keep a crew together like that, that means you're doing something right.
Yeah.
But it's just funny because he's got like a bunch of those people are commonly in his movies. But like, for example, I don't think Sean Gunn headlined anything for Suicide Squad, right? He didn't make it onto like the.
I mean, for all we know, he's doing the mocap for fucking King Shark or something like that.
Exactly. Actually, that's a good point. That this isn't necessarily like the DVD is not going to have all these names on the cover, or the movie poster is not going to have. So that I guess that maybe changes that a little bit.
Well, that's why I liked his tweet. He said, "Don't get too attached." You know, because we don't know which one of these guys could get killed like within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, my assumption is that I'm kind of feeling like what's going to happen is they're going to bring in all the old squad, and that most of them are going to be like the new, Boomerang and what other squad? I guess Boomerang and Harley. Are they the only squad members? Flag is not a squad member.
Boomerang and Harley, and then of course Waller. That's it.
I guess there's not another one. That's interesting. Okay, so that changes it a little bit. But I basically figured that everyone but Harley that's on the squad, which I guess would just be Boomerang, is basically just going to be offed right away.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Like as a it's a soft reboot, and what a better way to soft reboot Suicide Squad than to just kill off all the last ones. They're all the new Slipknot.
Oh man, I mean, it must be weird, and this happened recently too, because I remember when the promotion was happening for the first Suicide Squad, and what's his nuts who played Slipknot, he had to be there with the group, with all the press and stuff like that. And it's like, this guy, he's gonna die, and he died so quickly. And
it was pretty easy to trace from the marketing too.
Yeah.
Like they tried to give him prominence and stuff. But
they literally showed what he does, and they showed that scene in the trailer, like him doing that thing, and that's it. And then it's like, wow, he dies literally 3 seconds after that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then every single group shot of them throughout the rest of the movie is sans Slipknot.
Well, that's the thing that this happened recently with It Chapter 2, because everybody knows, and there's no spoiler here if you don't know this, but Stanley, he kills himself. Okay, that's very well known. That's from the miniseries, from everything.
From the book,
but with the actor, what's his name? Something Bean, Andy Bean, I think is what his name is. The guy who played
Alan. I was gonna say, be careful mispronouncing his name. He has got a Stan following on Twitter.
Oh yes, he does. I saw people like doing that. But I mean, he's playing Stan, and I'm like, cool, good for him.
Ironically,
I'm like, yeah, right. But I'm like, he's gonna kill himself. He probably was on the set 2 days tops. I mean, he had to shoot his scenes, and it probably took a day, but he had to be there for all the press stuff. I saw him in press stuff, and then it's like, it's obvious that he's not in any of the group shots, like in the movie. It's like, yes, because we know that Stanley, he fucking kills himself in the bathtub. We knew that was coming. No spoilers. Shut up, guys. Shut up, Jose. If you didn't know that by now, I'm sorry. By the way, chapter 2 came out like 2 weeks ago. Get on it. But yeah, I mean, but I mean, you didn't see it, chapter 2, did you?
No, I did not. I did not see. I've still not seen chapter 1. I've meant to, but it's just I've never got around to it.
I'm gonna go ahead and eject Steven. Guys, just saying.
Bye. That's fun.
How have you not seen chapter 1?
I just didn't. I don't usually catch horror movies like in the theater, and then my backlog has been getting longer than shorter recently. So
and it's kind of hard to hey, I'm gonna put on this scary clown movie and I got kids.
Yeah, exactly. I can't like watch that around them, and then I'm not.
They're asleep.
They go to sleep. I'm like, oh, let's do work. So
no, I get it. Yeah, I mean, what somebody just said, chapter 2 is horrendously bad. No, for 1000, it's not horrendously bad. It's not as good as the first, but I think we all knew that.
Oh, Dave, there is perfect masterpiece, and then there is anything less than that is horrendously bad. I don't know how you've not.
I know you can't have an in between, right? It's got to be one of the two extremes. Yeah, but I mean, I even said in my review, I'm like, you know what? I mean, when I watched the miniseries, the second half is not as good, and it's the reason why is because it's all about the kids. When Pennywise is terrorizing the kids, because that's what he does, and he eats kids, it's scarier. But when it's adults, not as scary. Just the way it is. And they had that. I mean, Andy Muschietti, whatever, and the actors, they had that challenge, and I thought they did a really good job, to be honest, because they had to. Because obviously he was still going to be hunting kids while fucking with the Losers Club. So there's moments where, two kids. They go through some shit, and it's like it's pretty horrific, but but it's just it doesn't feel when they're fighting him at the end, it's like, okay, this is adults fighting him. It would be a lot scarier if it was kids. You'd be a lot more freaked out. It's just, but you can't do it like that, obviously, because that doesn't go with the story. But I mean, I know with the book they kind of like bounce back and forth. I haven't read the book, but I know they bounce back and forth. And I just wonder, like, how would that actually work with on screen where you bounce back and forth? I don't think that would work as well as it does with a book.
Right.
Because I remember, I've read Fight Club. Fight Club, there's a lot of things. I mean, they did a good job adapting that screenplay, but it bounces big time too. It jumps. But in the movie, it's pretty linear. It's very linear. It's pretty much just start to finish. Mm-hmm. They basically had to take like all like what Polaniak like wrote in his book where it kind of bounced. They had to take like all those key moments and kind of make it linear, which I thought was a really good way of writing it. But I mean, that's what's so difficult. It's, things just work better in books. And you know how those fucking sticklers are. The book's better. I always hate that. I'm like, yes, I get it. The book's always going to be better because you're creating the movie in your brain as you're reading it. So the movie that you have is not the same movie that this director has. I always hate that.
Yeah. Well, everybody gets the issue with adapting books that I think you run into a lot is there's like a sort of like completionist mentality of like it's people approach it almost like from a checklist perspective of they have all these moments they want to see, and to them, if it's good, it's good if they check all the boxes on like of what the story is, and they do the scenes they want to see and they do them justice. Yeah, and I can appreciate that to an extent because like I was that way with Lord of the Rings. Like they added stuff I didn't like, they left out stuff that I loved, and I didn't think it was always in a way that elevated the material. But at the same time, in the lead up to I never remember the actual name of it. Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow, whatever.
Edge of Tomorrow. I don't like the Live, Die, Repeat.
Live, Die, Repeat is not
a slogan. That's a slogan, not a title.
I read All You Need Is Kill in the lead up to that. Yeah. Which is the book that it's based on. Yeah. And it is it's like barely similar to that, just in like fundamental concept. Yeah. It's like it's about as similar as like it is to Groundhog Day. I mean, this is like, obviously Groundhog Day isn't like action oriented, but in the same like the whole the ending twist and everything is way different, but it works way better. Like the book I read it, I was like, how are they gonna do this? And then they didn't. They're just like, oh, we're just gonna take that general concept, and I thought that was great. But I can see people being, if the book was a more popular property, I can see people being like, the movie sucked, not because it was bad, but because it didn't check all the boxes that I wanted.
Yeah, it's interesting. It must be like, and that's what I wonder when like you have these writers that adapt the screenplays for the books. Like, I mean, it's got to be so challenging to like, okay, we got to make this work on screen, and sometimes it's just not going to work. I mean, I guess this Goldfinch movie that came out this weekend, it's based on a book too, right? And it just apparently like critics are just totally shitting on it. They're like, this doesn't work, and I've seen reviews say like, yeah, this stuff just only works when you're reading it. It doesn't work on screen. So I mean, that must be like one of the biggest challenges. Like, how do you make it work on screen? How do you adapt it right? And I mean, there's so many books that get adapted, and you got these diehard fans of the books. I mean, like, especially when you have series of books like Lord of the Rings, like you said, or even Twilight. I mean, I remember when Twilight was so big, every girl I knew was like, "Oh my god," But then they watch the movies and they're like, "Yeah, the movie's pretty cheesy." I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds about right."
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's hard to kind of recapture that same era, or like then you have a weird situation like with Harry Potter, where I haven't read any of the Harry Potter books, but my understanding is they basically got less and less faithful as they went along, because and partly because they had to sort of age up the maturity level as the actors aged up, because you just couldn't keep the actors as young as you needed to.
And have that de-aging technology,
which I think is a really interesting example there, because that was kind of out of necessity more so than any sort of a rejection of the source material or anything. But as someone who didn't like the books, I liked the later movies way better than the earlier movies, just because it wasn't really, I saw them when I was older, and was not. Yeah, exactly. And it was more kind of the tone that I want from my sort of sci-fi wizard bullshit. Yeah. So
I mean, and then I think like, what's his name? Game of Thrones guy. I think he kind of ran into that too, right? With his books, with the show, it's like he already knew, but he had to like change shit to be like,
right. Or like with it, like you exclude, like with the show, especially because the books were being written at the same time. There's cases where like characters were excluded or combined because it worked out in earlier narratives, and then like later on, half of that character does one thing and the other half does another thing, and you can't like you can't sort of settle that difference in the show. So you're like, well, I guess we're just cutting that or giving that role to someone else or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's got to be like similar too with like comic books. I mean. But I mean, I guess it's a little easier because it's like, okay, and that's
comics are easy because it's already been reinvented and regurgitated a million times as
exactly. And like when like BVS, for instance, it's like, okay, let's show the death of Superman, but we're not going to show the death of Superman the way it was in the book. We're going to show where like they're just the two are rocketing towards the Earth and they slam into the Earth and blah blah blah, and then finally he's defeated, and then Superman just collapses and Lois goes, "Oh my god!" I mean, they kind of had similar because you had Lois in there, but
which like if they had adapted that directly,
it wouldn't have been as good.
I like Death of Superman just because it's so iconographic, but in live action, no, like them landing the killing punch at the same time in live action would go over worse than the Martha moment.
And we've seen that so many times too. We've already seen that in a lot of movies. So that's why I was like, good on Terrio and Snyder. Like, hey, come up with something different where a weapon that Batman created, he uses that to kill Doomsday and then ends up getting killed himself. I mean, it all, especially, I mean, that's what, I mean, I remember when I was watching it the first time and I was looking at my friend, I'm like, oh my God, they're doing it. And I almost wept, like, just because I was like, wow, that was beautiful because it was something different. The fact that Superman grabbed the spear that is literally killing him to kill something else, and then he dies in the process. I'm like, beautiful. Good job.
I don't remember just because it was long ago and the whole thing was kind of a blur and it was a whole, the internet was different then. But were there theories about Death of Superman being a part of the movie? Okay. And I guess because Doomsday. Okay, that makes sense. People
suspected. I remember I was like,
because normally when that kind of thing happens in a movie like that, I'm really I'm like sitting there waiting for it, like in like Civil War or the Endgame or Avengers, or whatever. Like they get to like the big set piece, and you're like, okay, I kind of had this. Maybe the larger plot you didn't work out, but like the set piece starts, and you're like, okay, I know how this goes. It's a paint by numbers kind of fight scene that's generally derived from the comic.
Yeah.
And I was genuinely surprised that they actually killed Superman and did a lot of that in general in BVS. And like, I'm way more familiar with DC lore than I am, Marvel lore or other stuff. So I always thought that was really kind of fascinating. That's part of why I defended it even, just because it felt fresh and different. Yes. Even though, people say like, oh, I didn't feel anything for Superman or whatever. And, I can't fix that. Like, if you didn't feel anything, that's not my problem.
Yeah, exactly.
But I felt something and it was fresh and somehow that wasn't like scooped or heavily theorized long beforehand. And I think it's amazing.
Yeah, there wasn't like it wasn't like headline news or anything. It was just people were theorizing it. I remember seeing that, but I think I even kind of did too. I don't know if I did a video about it. I can't remember. It was so long ago. But I mean, I think it was just because, like you said, it was Doomsday, and we all know what's going on with that. But I couldn't believe it. Like when he said when he was struggling and he was looking at Lois, I went, oh my God, they're doing it. Oh my God, fucking doing it.
Well, I think it's when he says, "You are my world," and it kind of it brings back my world doesn't exist anymore. And he's like, "You're my world." I'm like, no, all right, fine.
Yeah. And yes, I wept, not weeped there, fourth 1000. Sorry, I said it wrong. Anyways. Yeah, I know. It is grammar, please, in here. But yeah, I just remember just turning to my friend going, oh my God, they're doing it. They're doing it. And he was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, dude, he's going to die. He's going to fucking die. And yeah, I mean, it struck me. I mean, yeah, I know there was everybody who's like, oh, how am I supposed to feel so sorry for Superman after one movie? And I'm like, well, if you just kind of just take in the story,
it's just such a weird, like, I'm not going to say that like you're required to feel anything for any one character. Like I felt something for Batman v Superman. Obviously, I love it. I'm doing a podcast about it and everything. But every movie in history, like prior to a shared universe, that like had people dying after a single movie character arc. And you're saying like you didn't feel anything for like any of that? Like it's such a weird standard of like, oh, unless we've seen 5 solo movies and 3 crossovers, I can't feel emotion for fictional characters.
Like, it has to be so much established. I mean, and then of course
that doesn't hurt. I mean, what happened? What Infinity War or what Endgame did with Iron Man?
I wept also with Iron Man.
I mean, like I don't know. I personally wasn't a huge fan. But I appreciate the sort of the long arc, or you get something like you got with Hugh Jackman. I think that's a way better example, despite the continuity issues.
Oh yeah, the Logan death was it hit
you felt that, and it works as a standalone movie also. But the legacy of him doing the role for almost 20 years.
Out of the 3 sacrifices, Logan's the one that gets me just
every time.
I've watched that movie like 27 times. I still get choked up.
Well, it's the incorporation of the whole Shane monologue. There's no living with the killing.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I think we lost Steven. He froze. Dang. Oh, you're coming back. Oh, you're good. You had a little hiccup there. Go ahead.
Cool. They're trying to take me down.
They are. That's what it is.
No, I was just saying, I think Logan works as a solo movie as well, but the legacy definitely helps it.
Yeah.
But I think all the pieces of Superman in BVS though, and that's, I feel like a broken record on my podcast, because I feel like every single minute I'm like, I didn't notice this last time, but this time I'm seeing now like everything is in there. Like even, I've always said as the defender of the movie, like all these things are in there, but literally like it's so meticulously assembled that they hit like every single like character moment specifically and like meticulously in like every scene, like building up to
and you guys were watching the ultimate cut, right?
Yeah, that helps too.
That helps too, because I mean there's so much more Clark in there. So and that was one of like when I watched the theatrical version, and that was one of my gripes, was like I wanted more Clark. More Clark, and that's what we lost out. And I think that had heavily to do, because I remember hearing those rumors that like, oh yeah, Warner Brothers executives, they applauded Ben Affleck's Batman, so now they want more Ben Affleck Batman. And it seems like when it came to the theatrical cut, it was like, okay, cut everything Clark, don't cut anything Bruce Wayne or Batman.
Well, yeah, it feels fundamentally similar to what they did with Justice League. Although, Justice League is a way different beast. But with Justice League, Zack Snyder built a movie around a very specific cyborg plot.
Yeah.
And then they reshot the cyborg plot / cut most of it, and then just kind of tried to shuffle the pieces around him and recut the movie. And it doesn't work because literally Snyder called it the heart of the movie, but even without that, in terms of construction, the structure of the movie, they ripped the heart out of the plot, not just the emotion, but the ticking clock, and replaced it with something else, and then just pretended it was all fine. It's like popping the hood on the car and everything's made out of spaghetti, and you're like, I don't know why it's not going anywhere. It's like
twirl it on a fork.
And BVS, they kind of did that with by gutting so much of Clark.
Yeah.
And it wasn't nearly so bad, but Batman is a secondary character in that movie, and when you elevate him to try to edit it so he's the primary character, you miss the heart of BVS.
Exactly, because I even like how Cavill plays him, and because he's just kind of hey, I'm doing my thing. I got my shoulder bag. I'm just trying to figure some shit out. I'm trying to be nice. He wasn't playing the whole goofy Superman stumbling over stuff, which was fine. It was a fresh take, but it's just I don't know. When I say it's the scene where he gets on that boat. I don't know why. There's just something about the way Cavill plays him right there, where he's just
even the notion of describe what is happening in that scene, and it's so poetic that Clark Kent is stepping onto a ferry to ride across the harbor to Gotham.
Yeah.
And everything about that, I think that's one thing that I'm going to keep on name dropping my podcast here, so sorry about that. That's one thing that I remember saying in the podcast was it's so crazy to watch that and describe that scene as Clark Kent visits Gotham.
Yeah.
There's a movie where there's a moment in the movie where you describe it that way, and that's so
that just one moment, for some reason I just love that moment. I don't know what it is.
It's such a huge cinematic history of because he's looking out over the harbor and you see Gotham on the other side. And
the bag, the glasses,
exactly. Yet he's not visiting it as Superman. He's not. He's doing it the hard way. He's not even paying to do it too, right?
Yeah.
So it's humble.
Just that little moment. I don't know why. Yeah, like you said, that's why I just love that little moment. There's so much that's screaming right there that people are just whatever.
It captures the kind of same attitude to me as that shot of his hand taking the gate in the Capitol building.
Yeah.
Where it's the power, but it's this gentle, restrained power. It's he could just rip that off its hinges.
Yeah, because everybody is quiet, and he just casually just walks in. Yeah, he moves the little gate, and then he just puts his arms, kind of crosses them a little bit, and just stands there. It's God,
yeah, exactly. And so Clark Kent taking the ferry, I feel has a very similar energy to that.
Yeah, because he has to. Even just him walking through the courtroom too.
Yeah.
He's just walking as Superman, just walking through there, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?" Superman is literally just walking through right now in all his glory, the cape and everything. It's just, there's so much, there's so much visually right there, and that's what was so captured beautifully by Snyder, and the writing of Terrio and Goyer, just bringing that right there, and that's why I just go when people start ripping it to shreds, and then when the whole explosion happens, a lot of people are like, why is he just standing there? And then sadly with the theatrical version, we didn't see him actually pulling people out. Looking, that's a hardcore scene too, where he's bringing people out of there, putting them down, and then the one paramedic is I think we got it here, thank you, and then he's just looking around, and then he sees Lois, and you could just see it on his face where he's like, I didn't do this. What the fuck, man? And then he just flies off. I'm like, that.
Well, it's the whole philosophically, that stuff kind of reminds me of. I also mentioned this on the podcast recently.
By the way, BVS Minute podcast.
Yeah,
I don't know if we've mentioned that anyway.
Yeah, if you're not listening to BVS, I do a podcast called BVS by the Minute, which is it is Batman v Superman by the minute.
Yeah, there's a lot of minutes.
I compared something to the Joker interrogation scene in The Dark Knight, which obviously is like one of the greatest scenes in cinematic history, or at least comic book history. But it's the line that Joker gives, like taunting Batman about what you can't do anything with all your strength. Yeah. And there's just that, like, Batman is just like punching him in the face over and over, and it's like it doesn't matter how many times you punch him, like you're not saving Rachel.
Exactly.
And so that kind of idea of like the villain has done something that cancels out everything the superhero brings to the table, and how like that feeling of powerlessness that it gives you. Another BVS theme. And that's sort of what Lex does in the Capitol. And that scene on the steps is what brings that home, of like, he's like, I can fly. I'm super strong. I'm Superman.
Yes.
And there's these people dying around me, and I can't.
And the fact that he was so disappointed in himself, he's like, I didn't see it. And that's when you see him with Lois, he goes, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. But the fact, what I also like too was the fact of the matter is like right at the last second, you see Superman go, what the fuck? Like, and then all of a sudden, boom. I just love the fact that he sends something like right, like a millisecond.
That timing is so flawless too. Just the whole Granny's peach tea thing. I remember sitting in the theater like, wait, what? Wait. And then they look over at him, and I think it registered in my head at the same time. Yeah. That the second he looks,
and they're like, why is she looking at me with a frightened face? And then all of a sudden he gets probably his super hearing, hears something mechanical go like that, and he goes, what? And then boom.
Yeah.
Oh my God, just a beautiful. Oh my God, man, I got goosebumps just fucking talking about it right now, man. Jeez.
Yeah. The Jester, the helipad scene is also really. It's actually really crazy how, like, thematically, how many things Snyder sort of lifts or takes inspiration from Nolan in that way.
Jeez.
Where there's
has Nolan ever talked about what he thinks about BVS?
No, I'd be really fascinated to hear more about that. Which, he's not really one to talk about someone else's work.
Yeah.
So, but just the some of the lines are direct, like you always fear what you don't understand.
Yeah.
And then there's like the whole idea of powerlessness. And I think that a lot of that is kind of intentional to a point also, because they skipped all of Batman's sort of backstory. Yeah. And so they explain it, but also I think they say like, no, you know who Batman is. So we're going to use some of these similar themes to be like, oh no, even though maybe the story is different, the character arc that brought him here is not all that different from The Dark Knight. And so I think they kind of have homage to some of those scenes to kind of bring that out.
Yeah, it makes sense. And then, it's funny too, because I remember when I watched the theatrical cut, I was like, yeah, I liked it, but there was just like, maybe if they did it this way. And I actually did a whole video on like about how I would have rearranged certain things. But then once the ultimate cut came out, I went, no, what am I fucking talking about? He actually did kind of pull off what I was kind of saying in a different way. And I remember like one in particular, like what I like the really good parallels is the fathers. The fact that when you have Clark walking up that mountain and he sees his dad, and then you have Bruce, it's like cut to Bruce in the burnt down Wayne Manor, who's, standing there, and Alfred, who's his father figure, talking about his father, talking about being a hunter and blah, 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 this, blah, blah, that. And I'm like, okay, because I think I had something in there where I was like, it needs to be more like parallels. Show the parallels of these two characters, but then show how vastly different they are. And when it comes to those two scenes of Clark literally walking up a mountain, and like those, I think it was like Native Americans, whatever the heck, say like, yeah, people just go up there to die. But of course, we know that Clark's not going to die.
Yeah.
But he's just in that mindset of like, I need to just get away from everything. I'm going to go to the top of this mountain and just kind of like think. And then his father comes into his brain. And then you got Bruce over here who's like, I gotta do something about this fucking alien that could just destroy us all because I'm scared. And then he starts talking about his father too, being hunters and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, there you go. There's those parallels that I wanted with these two characters that are vastly different.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then the whole time also you have Lex, who at least as far, we just did like minute 45 in the podcast. And so far, every single scene that Lex is in, he references his dad. Yeah. So one of the first things that he does in the scene, it says like, really
talks about dads.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's always it's like some kind of weird lie too. Like, his first scene is like, oh nope, that's my dad. He's the Lex in front of the corp, and then he starts talking about the I think he said something like my father had to ruffle through the garbage to get yesterday's paper. It's like, I don't know. That's like, you're either lying or that's a lie that he told you. Like that's like I'm sure he walked uphill to school both ways in the snow with bare feet.
Yeah.
And then
broken glass.
Then the other thing he says is in his den, he says, my dad always says that good Kentucky mash is the secret to good health.
Yeah.
So no, he didn't say that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You're coming up with. Yeah. Dude, that's what's so great about that. You got them two who are like whose dads are gone. They're dead. They're gone. They miss him like crazy. And then you got the villain who's like, fuck my dad. That guy was a piece of shit. And you kind of just go, well, this makes sense. I mean, I like the fact that they utilize that whole thing and how like Lex kind of projected a little bit to Superman, about his dad, oh yeah, you didn't save me when, he was, beating me or whatever the heck he said. Of course, I'm not saying it right, but
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. They don't spell it out in the same way, but I think Bruce projects his dad onto Superman also.
Yeah.
And the whole "you let your family die" thing.
Yeah.
And his dad was, the opposite of Lex Luthor's dad in a lot of ways. But so to him, Superman was supposed to be his dad, or like kind of fulfill that same hero role, but failed. Yeah. And so Lex is mad at Superman because he has no faith in him, and Batman is mad at him because he failed to be at what he should have been. Maybe, I don't know. That's a little more. I don't know how overt that is in the text, but I kind of like that reading of it.
No, it is. I mean, it's there's so many layers in that damn movie, and I never really thought. I mean, I've always thought about like that parallel with the dads, but then I didn't really think. Well, yeah, but then you got Lex who hated his dad, and his dad was like a monster apparently, and that's where it's just so. Yeah, that's those two scenes are just really good. And especially when you have Bruce saying all that to his father figure that is Alfred, because we all know what that is. And then Alfred is just going, I don't know what to fucking do. I can't stop him from doing this. I am powerless. I mean, that's so built up too, which were removed scenes as well.
But the difference there, what the kids call it these days, toxic masculinity, I guess. But you look at like the difference in like Alfred is powerless, but he exists powerless in life, basically, right? Like he's the butler. Like he doesn't take. I'm going to use a lot of words here that people aren't going to like. He's not privileged or doesn't have the privilege, but so you look at all those ideas and you look at like the guys that react poorly to the feeling like Alfred is powerless also, but the fever and rage and feeling of powerlessness don't make him cruel. And I think it's because he's comes from more humble origins. Yeah. Whereas you have like Bruce Wayne is the son of a billionaire. Lex Luthor, is the son of a billionaire.
Yeah.
And, and something kind of upsets their power balance. And they're like, I'm going to burn the world to the ground over this, which is an interesting contrast.
It is. Yeah, I mean, you see that throughout the whole movie. It's like just Alfred's going like, what the fuck are you doing? I mean, like right from the beginning when he like drops a newspaper, he goes, new rules. And that just, to me, that wipes out everything about the whole Batman killing, the whole debate. That whole first shot where he drops the paper and says new rules. And then Bruce goes, we've always been criminals, Alfred, and it's just like, that's where you go, okay, he's 20 years in and he doesn't care anymore.
Well, not only that, but I think one of the criticisms against that is if you say, oh, well, this is a fall on Batman, they say, well, why don't they explain that? Like Batman has one rule. Why didn't they explain it? It's like literally the line new rules implies several things. One, it implies there was a rule that he followed, a diamond absolute, I guess you could say. Maybe it's in there more than once. It tends to repeat these themes. And then the second thing that implies is that he's operating differently than he used to. And like, that's all the backstory you need. He had a unbreakable principle and he is breaking it now.
Exactly.
There's your backstory. Like, that's why Batman kills.
Yeah. And then he's seeing it, when you see Alfred, like looking at empty wine bottles and even makes a comment like, hopefully like the next version of Wayne, the next generation of Wayne, can inherit like not an empty wine cellar. And then he makes the joke like there's gonna be another fucking, blah, blah, he's I mean, Alfred. Guys, watch BVS again and just look at it through the eyes of Alfred and just realize like what's going on. And then the fact that, when it comes to even like to the part where he already knows where Martha is, because he just knew that, Bruce is going to want to save her. Bruce, after hearing everything that I just heard right now, I'm going to go find her with our little shit. And I got you. Don't worry.
Knowing that Luther is pulling all the strings and breaking the movie down, scene by scene or minute by minute, it's crazy just how many things you don't really pick up on, even on rewatches that I'm noticing now. The one that I noticed last is that Bruce gets the invitation to Lex's gala the day after he hacks KG Beast's phone.
True.
And it's funny because it's one of those things where like on the first watch you like roll your eyes like, oh yeah, that's convenient timing. And then when you're rewatching it, you're like, oh no, like literally Lex is just pulling every single string. He wanted Bruce to hack the phone. He knew he was going to find the data on it. He knew that he was going to get the invitation into Lex's house at the same time that he was contemplating breaking into his house. Like,
I know. Yeah. And people don't give enough credit to this Lex Luthor of how smart he actually is. Mm-hmm. But another thing too is like, do you think that when Clark is out there and he sees Bruce pull up and he goes, "Who's that?" and he says that to somebody else, do you think he's just playing a character, or does he not know who Bruce Wayne is?
I don't know. That's a good question, and that's the next minute we have to cover. So I have not looked into it much yet. So you're getting my raw thoughts on that.
I even made the joke because even with Justice League, if you don't, with the scene that I think it was still in there, that was a Snyder scene, was when Bruce Wayne is in Barry Allen's place, he goes, Barry Allen, and then Barry Allen literally goes, "Look, I don't know who you are, dude, but blah 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 blah." Yeah. And I made the joke, I'm like, does nobody know who Bruce Wayne is in this fucking universe? Yeah. Then I kind of go like, is Clark just doing that just for optics? Is he just doing that just to be like, hey, who's this guy? I don't know. It's fine, but
a little bit, or like maybe he's trying to get a feel for like what people think about Bruce.
Because then there's like the shot actually like lasts about like 3-4 seconds on Clark's face when he's just kind of looking over, and he almost like makes a face like, I know who you are, man. I know who you are. But I almost wonder, like, with the more stuff that was, I mean, I've heard that BVS was, about 3 hours and 20 minutes. There's like 20 minutes that we haven't seen. More Clark stuff. We've actually seen the screenshots where he's on his laptop. He's sleeping and Lois is waking him up and blah, blah, blah. There's so much Clark that got just removed. It's crazy. And I'm just wondering if, like, was there something established where he already kind of knew who this guy was? I mean, obviously, if he's Batman, he could just look right through the mask with his X-ray vision. So it's like, I don't know. I almost want to, like, at first I was like, why the fuck would he not know who Bruce Wayne is? But then I'm going, is he putting on the act?
Remember, he's been a reporter now for, like, a little over a year. Yeah. And before that, he was, like, off the grid most of the time, right?
And there's that aspect too, but I'm just like, how does like nobody know who Bruce Wayne is,
Yeah.
But then again, I'm like, you might be right. I mean, he was just raised in Kansas, didn't really know.
Yeah, I can see that going both ways. I'll need to think about that a little bit longer, but I can see. Well, I think both are valid too. Either he knows and he's trying to just kind of figure out people's vibes.
The shot that after he says, "Who's that?" Well, you must be new here, blah blah blah, and then he just kind of just looking over, and there's like literally like 4 seconds that they keep on his face. And I'm like, is he know who he is, or is he doing a charade? Is he doing a Clark Kent fucking charade? It's one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, we just turned into a BVS
again. How did that happen?
But what's up?
No, I was gonna say, I skipped over it. Someone said, Jose in the comments said, Colbert, how do you deal handling or working with people who absolutely hate BVS? And it's a funny. I want to go back and respond to that just because I get something like that a lot.
Do it because that's the thing, guys. I mean, and I know everybody here is probably fine with it, but I always love it when fucking Screen Rant, fucking shooting on Snyder again. And I'm like, okay, not everybody does. I'm like, read the articles from Colbert and Dice. They have always been on the side of Snyder. They love BVS. They do that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, not everybody, there's multiple writers on the site. It's not always.
Well, and we gave a positive review to BVS, and our Man of Steel review was glowing. And like go back and listen to like the podcast that we did when BVS dropped. It was all the head editors at the time. And they all at the end do a roundup of like, so what'd you think of the movie? And I think there were 4 or 5 of them that were on, but it was unanimous. They were all like, yeah, I don't know what, like, yeah, sure, there's a couple issues, but like, I don't know what people are freaking out about. And that was the theatrical version too.
Wow.
So, and obviously not everybody agrees, but I think there's a lot more people that like BVS than that write for us than people seem to think. And then even though there's not, we write about hundreds of, or thousands of movies. And
I mean, it's like pay attention to the author who's writing it. I mean, it's not gonna. If there's a certain writer that has it out for Snyder, they have it out for Snyder. It's whatever. That's what they want to do. Whatever they want to.
Yeah. Well, and we don't like green light hit pieces. If somebody is gonna I as an editor, like I will allow someone to write something that disagrees with Snyder, but they have to I'm not necessarily going to agree with their conclusion, but they have to at least like structure it and support their argument. And so that's kind of my take on it. And that's probably a minority. I mean, if you look at all our Snyder coverage in general, I laugh every time anyone suggests that it's negative, because there's some pieces that I'll take a shot, but like as a whole, we are very aware of like the Justice League situation.
Yes.
And everything that we write, it might be the writer might suggest that they don't want to see the Snyder cut, but universally in all of our articles about it, we acknowledge that it exists. And because we've done more publishing on that than just about anyone else.
I think you guys have covered it best, more than anybody else. I mean,
so I don't know, people are allowed to have in the same way that like they shouldn't be able to tell me that I need to write negatively against Snyder. I'm not going to tell someone else that they have to write positively about him. But I'd say I'm generally surprised at how positive people are, or even people that aren't fans of him. They'll pick up an article sometimes that'll talk about something, and they'll I'm impressed with their ability to kind of separate their opinion of it versus what he'll do. Like they'll give him credit for trying to do something the MCU didn't do, or for his visual aesthetic or whatever. So I don't know if that answers the question of how I deal with it, but it's we all have different opinions on movies, and so if you're going to engage with people about that, you can't make that like a personal vendetta of like, you must align with me in all ways for the movies or you're fired. So
I'm just disappointed that you didn't write up about my D23 video. That's all. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. I didn't want it to go up on any sites, but of course, HH and comicbook.com did. And it's just like, I could just go into those comments, and it could be pretty treacherous and blah blah blah. I did it just because Justin was going. I didn't make Comic-Con. I wanted to go, and I was like, all right, let's just do it. Let's just do the video there instead. Let's see what happens. And I wasn't going, oh man, hopefully it gets picked up on comicbook.com or blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, I don't care if it gets picked up. This is just something we're going to do. I'm going to put it up on my channel. It's fine. And, it's doing well on the channel, for the most part.
The response to that in general was just hilarious. I don't think anybody actually watched it, or if they did, they watched it and weren't actually paying.
There was like, the thing is like, you got just casual fans, Marvel fans, MCU fans that are just like, what the fuck, these losers. And then you got the diehard Snyder Cut fans, same thing.
I don't like calling them diehard Snyder Cut fans, because that suggests like they are somehow like, I'm not into like competing. Like if they want to think they're better fans than I am, like fine. I'm sure maybe they've spent more on merch or watched the movies more times or whatever.
Cutters, yeah.
Like so, I'm not about to like start dick measuring my fandom with them. If they want to be like better fans, then that's fine. They can have that title. But I'd prefer to just call them like zealots or something other than diehard, because I'm a diehard and I don't do that
That's
stuff.
true.
So.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I saw the shit from both sides, and it was just kind of like whatever, you know. I mean, I go and look at my YouTube, and I'm like, oh, look at the like 92.3% likes. That's fine by me. That's what we're.
You also got. I think the thing that people also don't realize about that, you got hundreds of likes, and like that's awesome. But you also got like 50 or some. I checked it. I went and checked at one point. It had 40. It had 40 downvotes, and I was like, "Oh, really? So you're telling me there's 40 people that disagree with you?
40.
Ironic." It's over that now, though, so I guess that disproves. But I think the thing that people don't understand about that's kind of funny is like there are a lot of people that would kill to get 50 downvotes on a video, to have somebody that has that. To have that many people have a reaction at all to something they created.
Exactly.
It's just kind of it is funny in the petty way that someone's like, I'm going to go click the downvote button on that video and I'm going to show that internet guy.
It's just funny, but when people are like, why the fuck would you go to a place where Disney and blah blah blah, and then I'm like, did you not? Yeah, like you said, I'm like, they didn't watch the video because I literally explained through voiceover why we're there, like why, like what. Hey, we're gonna talk to Disney, specifically try to get Marvel fans to see if they know about the Snyder Cut and if they would be willing to pay to see it.
It's the same thing as like at Comic-Con, ironically, where people were mocking the Project Comic-Con stuff, saying like, why are you going to be there? Warner Brothers isn't even going to be there. You're idiots for not knowing that. And it's like, what? It's as if the only way to advocate for the Snyder Cut is like to go knock on like Walter Hamada's office door. It's like, if you're not knocking on Walter Hamada's door, you're not advocating for the Snyder Cut. It's like, there's people need to be convinced to see the movie.
Exactly.
I can guarantee you that there are more Marvel fans at Comic-Con than there were DC fans. And I don't even need to do a straw poll. There were more Marvel fans at Comic-Con, or MCU fans, I guess I should say, than DCEU fans at Comic-Con. Yet, like nobody's like, why would you even bother there? It's because you got to get awareness, or even what I found more interesting about your video, more so than just like the generating of awareness, was finding out like, if you're going to get off of Twitter, you're going to get off of like the social media and the constant like Snyder Cut coverage, and you're just going to go up to somebody who like appreciates these movies and say, hey, do you know about the Snyder Cut? That people don't really know. I mean, they've heard of it. A lot of people know about it, but there's like, once you get outside of this bubble of people that are kind of exposed to this stuff about it every day, there's some people that haven't ever heard of it. There's people that are like, oh, I think one guy told you like, oh, I heard there's a better version out there.
Yeah.
Like that was his understanding of the Snyder Cut, which like, that's great. I'll take that. I will take, there's a better version out there.
There's like, I mean, like I said, we were out there for like a good, 5 hours or so. And it's just like, there was a couple times where, I don't think the camera was rolling, but we got some like, really? And then we even got a lady who goes, it's not a place to protest. And we're like, we're not protesting. Sorry. There's just like, the people that we interviewed, we were hoping for more, but we got quite a diverse group of characters.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, that Last Jedi guy was absolutely hilarious. Like, I feel like he needs to be a meme. He's like, oh yeah, my friend will definitely see that, but he won't buy The Last Jedi.
He would not. You don't know how. There was so much more footage of him complaining about Last Jedi and talking.
He should make a supercut of that.
I know he talks so much. Well, the thing is, the audio was a little iffy. That was the issues that we ran into. But then he was also talking about Disney and how they're taking over stuff. He was going through all this stuff, and I'm like, I can't just do all this. This is about the Snyder Cut. I'll have a little bit of it, but but he mainly just was.
Bad. You really could have hooked him on some of those, like, oh hey, Disney stole the 5-part plan and they copied off it, and I'm sure he would have been all about that.
Oh yeah, probably.
Which someone mentioned that in the comments before. I don't buy any of that. It doesn't line up with a number of major issues, but But I think that sounds like a prime target for that kind of conspiracy, though.
It does. I mean, he could have, we could have just been like, what do you think about, well, maybe Jeff Johns like kind of leaked some info to Kevin Feige. He probably would have agreed with it. He probably like, yeah, I can agree with that. I don't know. But yeah, he was a funny dude. I mean, he just was like, he was on and on. And I was just like, okay. I mean, he's very knowledgeable, very, he talked and talked, which was good, but it was just nonstop Disney and Last Jedi talk. And I'm like, it's not what we're here for. But at least, it still was like a little funny moment in that whole thing. And then, just standing out there. I mean, we thought, okay, we went to like 3 different locations. We were right in the front. We were on like, I would say the west side at first. And then we moved to the east side where there was like a intersection and more people were going. But I mean, it was, I even said it in the video. I'm like, we got to the point we were trying to guess whether these people would actually acknowledge this or not. I mean, it got to that point where it's like, all right, and Justin was pretty good at like, he would always be like, maybe these guys. And anybody that had any kind of Marvel shirt, it was like, okay, let's try. And then as soon as they got closer, it was like, nope, not happening. They're just like darting past us. They wanted nothing to do with us. Mm-hmm. So that was, it was pretty difficult. And then it was, once we got Captain America, somebody dressed up as Captain America, I thought, I was like, all right, that was cool. I wish I kind of like, to me, I was like, oh, this is my first man on the street. I felt like I should have been a little more, with my points and stuff like that. But I
thought you were fine. It's doing that kind of stuff is hard to kind of, you feel this pressure to be like to have like the one-liner constantly. And I think, you just have a conversation. I think what you guys did was fine. I mean, obviously you edited it. Maybe you were a dumbass in person. You just made yourself look good in editing.
Oh, of course.
But
why wouldn't I?
But no, I thought it was great. Well, it was hilarious too, because someone sent me a, well, first of all, the narrative that you guys were bashing Project Comic-Con is hilarious because you were hyping it up so much beforehand. I did it wasn't until the whole stuff started to come out about the size of the ground team. And which, that's fine that there was only a handful of people there. But I think the issue is that there was like funding allocated to that, which makes it funny that someone's then going to come after you. And it's like, you didn't crowdfund.
I did not do
this.
like, what are you coming after me for? What the fuck did I do?
Yeah. So it's funny that people would be like, oh, Project Comic-Con was more successful or whatever. I don't know what people are saying because I have them mostly blocked now. But But it's just the one screenshot that someone sent me was something about comparing you to Project Comic-Con or mocking you for having put down Project Comic-Con or something, as if you had raised, however much went to the ground team, $2,000 or whatever for what you did. Like you guys just like went down the street and did it out of your own pocket in an afternoon.
There was no funding at all. Like I literally,
it doesn't make it necessarily better or worse. It's just like totally to compare the two is really insecure for someone to feel like somehow you making this video is like going to invalidate the work that they put into Project Comic-Con.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And it was funny too, because like you said, I did videos about that, praising those guys. I was like, hey, good job with the billboard, good job with the bus stop thing, and but the only thing I had an issue with was where's this like boots on the ground thing, because I didn't see much of that. That's what I had a problem with.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I like get hit up by people. I'm like, yeah, it wasn't that organized with that, blah, 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 and then of course I get hit up by the opposite people. I started getting, after all that came out, then all of a sudden I got hit up by the opposite people going, no, they're lying, this, that, and this. And then I just got to the point where I'm like, all right, you guys need to work your shit out, because I was not in charge of that. Okay. That wasn't mine. I was just going by what people are saying. You guys work it out. Okay. If you had a problem, if you were saying one thing and this person's saying another, you guys work it out. I'm out. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm just going by what I'm seeing. And I praised everything but the whole boots on the ground thing. That's all that's what I did.
Well, it'd be a total non-issue if they just say like, oh, you know what? The boots on the ground was fewer people this year than we want, but we learned a lot of things that we're excited about next year. Cool. Done deal. But the pushback is like, no, it was a major success and people worked really hard. It's like, that's fine. But like, if you're going to raise money for it and like promise boots on the ground in the campaign, you owe the people that donated an explanation about that. And like if the people, you've got to get people to go, and if you didn't, like that's fine if you didn't, but like I don't know, I'm not really super opinionated about it outside of that, other than just the fact that the drama exists. It's just funny because it's so easy to move on if you just say like, yep, we want to do a better job next year, and move on. But to somehow say that the people that are like, oh, it was smaller than I expected, or there were less people than I expected, or whatever, and then for the response to that to be like, no, you're wrong. Like, no, I think we can all agree we would like for more people to be on the ground. I don't know what's wrong with that.
Hop to it. I mean, I'll even say that about my video. Like Justin and I, and we thought, oh, we're gonna get a lot of people. We're hopefully get like a lot more people. We didn't. It ended up being like, I mean, that was one of the things that we were talking about, like just standing there going, man, these people are just very closed in. Closed in. I mean, we're at the Disney Expo. We were hoping for more Marvel people, but there was so many people just in Disney shirts, dresses.
But that's almost kind of the Marvel people is cool, but the Disney people is kind of the more interesting part to me, because these are people who are like paying attention to film in some capacity, but are outside the superhero bubble, right? Yeah, so like, what are those people?
Well, I mean,
did they see Infinity War and Endgame?
One lady who's like, older, and she didn't know anything about anything. Yeah. But she still agreed, like, yeah, a director should get their vision out there, and yeah, it should. But I mean, for the most part, she was just kind of like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
That's what we had. And I'm glad we got that portion of it too. But it was very hard to try to like get those people to talk, those kind of people to talk who are just diehard, just Disney fans outside the box.
And that's important because like those kind of people are not going to be like you're not going to turn her into like magically like the biggest advocate for the Snyder Cut or anything. But she's a ticket sale though, maybe, right? And it's really educational about like how far is your message getting? Are you only marketing yourself like if you're like how are you reaching your target audience, and how big is your target audience? And so I think that's really revealing on that capacity that it doesn't really seem to extend out off the internet or outside of like, the hardcore comic book circles.
Yeah. And that was the whole point. That was the whole point of it. I mean,
that's why I think it was successful. Because
by the way, guys, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Tyler Durden tried to like convert me into something.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you see that? I totally forgot that I had that. But I just saw I looked over at my screen and I was like, oh yeah, my burn. I was just making grease like hit me right.
Oh man, that's the worst.
Oh yeah, I was like,
we were talking about my kids earlier. I was making bacon the other day, and my daughter, she's almost gonna be 2 in a couple months, loves bacon, so she was like freaking out about it, and she pulled up a stool in front of the stove and just like went to snatch a piece of bacon out of it. She was fine, she didn't grab anything, but like I didn't realize what she was, because like she knows, like she's good with like temperature, like she knows that's hot, don't touch it. Yeah. And it was just, she pulled up a stool and just like climbed up and just like went without hesitation. I was like, whoa, do not. That is not for you.
That's
I think I scared her more with my stopping her than
it's going. Do not touch. Yeah, this was like I had my pan and I actually made bacon. I had bacon and sausage in there, so there's a lot of grease. And I dumped it out. I have like a little big coffee mug that I've dumped the grease out because I'm not going to dump it down the drain, obviously. And then for some reason I bumped something and it just totally, I was holding on this hand and it just spilled. That's why it looks like a drop. You see it. It just like, it's like a little drop of like, it hits right here and then it goes down.
I used to, when I worked at Subway like a decade ago, and people were like,
you were a sandwich artist?
I was. People always say that whenever Subway comes up, though, everyone knows the sandwich artist title.
Yeah.
I was always jealous of the Jimmy John's guys because they're rock stars. So Subway's sandwich artists, Jimmy John's are rock stars. But that's I don't know if pizzas are still popular. I haven't really been to Subway recently, but everyone was all about those mini pizzas.
Oh yeah.
And
they're gone.
Oh yeah, because
I went there a couple of weeks ago.
It screws up the whole production line because like a sandwich, like it goes down the line of the pizza. You have to take it from the beginning to the end, back to the beginning, back to the end, put it in the oven, and then it holds up all the sandwiches. Like it's stupid.
I thought that was stupid. And when I heard like what Subway has pizzas, they're about sandwiches and healthy stuff.
Yeah,
even though
I made a pizza once, and I pulled it out, and it was on like a wax paper that I pulled it out on, and like the one side tore, and it flipped over onto my wrist.
Yeah.
And splattered all the toppings and the sauce and everything on like from like the bottom of my hand, like up a few inches up my wrist. And it was one of those things where like it was like boiling hot, like right out of the oven, and everything just stuck to my arm.
Oh God.
And so like I couldn't shake it off. Man, it was like I like boiled like the whole.
I still have a scar. I could still see a little bit of a scar like right here.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at Sizzler. I was a busboy. I was a busboy.
You got a part-time job at the Sizzler.
At the Sizzler, yeah. And then, so I was a busboy, but then of course we did wash dishes too. And I grabbed some dishes, and I went to go put them down. And the big huge like metal bin that they were making like clam chowder or whatever was right there. And I put it down like this, and it was boiling hot.
Oh.
Right there. And there's still a mark. And this was like, I don't know, fucking 13 years ago. Yeah, I still have a mark right there. I literally just put down these things right there, and I just right up against that hot fucking. It was brutal. It really melted the skin, and I was like, I couldn't. It was hard to even wash dishes because of that steam.
So long as we're talking injuries, I put a drill bit throughout the fingernail.
Oh, God damn it!
On this finger here, you can't really see it. The fingernail is like crooked now. But it wasn't the drill bit. I was drilling a hole into something, and it broke. It snapped in half, and so my finger was there, and it went bam, and it was on the table, and so I didn't even drill through it. I literally punched through it with a like. Oh no! And I didn't look at it. I was like, no, and I was like, okay, look. And I opened it up, and the fingernail was busted like a chest burster from Alien. It was like busted out.
Oh no, man!
Yeah.
God damn. We are totally doing a Lethal Weapon 3 thing right now. Talking about injuries at work.
Yeah. That one was lucky because it missed missed the bone. I was far enough to the side. So like I don't know how much that would have screwed up my hand if I had like gone into that. But
yeah. That's man. Yeah, man, we just took a big tangent. Right from like, the D23 videos. Just like
yeah.
Because I saw like that my little burn that I had right there.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that, but anyways, I think we should wrap it up. We're at
a good way to end things.
47. Yeah, it's a way to do it right there. Talking about gruesome injuries that we had on the workforce. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like my biggest burn. I mean, I got burned a couple other times. I have another burn right here when I worked at KFC. Mm-hmm. And I literally was like putting the tray of chicken like this because you have like this little hook, and I was putting it in the thing, but for some reason, like something caught and it pushed the boiling hot out of the grease rack right into my hand. Right, it went. So I was like, oh shit. So I also have a little scar right there from that. That was fun. But yeah, there you go. Now you guys know that Steven and he worked at Subway, I worked at Sizzler and KFC.
You can't see it. I got about this long right here.
A
knife fight with my brother.
What the fuck? Okay.
when I was 12.
A knife fight with your brother at 12.
Yeah.
What the hell happened there? Older?
We were sword. No, he's like 3 years younger than me. We were like sword fighting, and it was like we like would actually like legitimately fight sometimes, but like there was no like we weren't trying to cause each other harm, but at the same time like we were swinging knives at each other. I don't know. You're a dude, you did stupid.
Oh yeah. That's just what happened.
It's one of those things like the second that I remember it hitting, and I looked down, and then I saw the skin just like, and it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, should not have been playing with knives.
Exactly. You learned a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
You and your toxic masculinity. God damn it. Anyways, guys. All right. Well, thank you, Steven, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Talking BVS and talking about injuries and stuff. God, I think everybody's like cringing, like, oh God.
We'll talk about wisdom teeth next time. We'll see who has the best. See who in the comments has the best. Someone always one-ups the wisdom teeth story.
Have you got your wisdom teeth pulled out?
I did, yeah.
Oh man, I'm kind of worried because sometimes they bother me, but most of the time they don't. But sometimes, like,
I think a lot of people are just fine with them. They either just never come in or they come in fine.
Well, it's funny because like like one wisdom tooth on all 4 sides came in. It's weird. And then I could feel like the second one on like certain sides still coming in. And then every now and then it pushes against everything. And I'll like, side, I'll start feeling like when I'm chewing on something, I'm like, that kind of hurts. And I kind of worry, I'm like, do I have a cavity? I'm like, no. I think it's just because of the wisdom tooth is just pushing against the whole.
One of those things that's different for everyone. Mine was actually like a minor surgery, and they just put me under.
Yeah.
They cut the gums, and then they like bust the teeth up and bring them out, and then I was just kind of holed up for a couple days. But like I've got a friend who in high school had them taken out, and I saw him like that night, and he walked up to me and he's eating biscotti and drinking a Monster, and I was like, and I was like biscotti and Monster, but and I was like, didn't you have your wisdom teeth taken out? And he's like, yeah, it's fine.
That's whatever. Like, I'm numb.
I guess the painkiller started to wear off later though, and he was like, oh yeah, maybe this was a bad idea.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Anyway, we said we're going to save wisdom teeth for next time, though. So
we'll save that for the next stream. We'll talk about wisdom teeth. Anyways, guys, appreciate you guys clicking in, joining us, and everything. And until next Friday, here we go. Here's the last drink. Cheers. What are you drinking? Are you drinking a seltzer?
I am drinking a White Claw.
Nothing wrong with that, man. No hangover whatsoever.
I was like, I need something that doesn't have caffeine in it. That's like, and it might as well have some booze. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, I shined off a 12-pack with somebody, and we woke up just fine. I'm like, wow, that's the new thing. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.